What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. We are here talking some of my favorite picks over on PrizePicks for the Week 2 NFL slate. And as you can see, this is not my normal office background. I am traveling to Ohio from Florida this weekend, so not at the home base. So we have the makeshift laptop setup going on this weekend, so I don't have my usual recording equipment or anything like that. So I apologize if this video's quality isn't up to par, but we'll be back to normal next week. And pretty much what we are doing here is I am trying to find the best value for you on PrizePicks compared to the DK Sportsbook, as they normally post much sharper lines, so PrizePicks can be a little bit behind sometimes. Now they do get steamed up quite quickly, so you do have to act fast, but simply just trying to find you guys the best value and trying to put a little bit of analysis on why I think it's good value as well. If you are brand new here, my name is Pennell. I break down NASCAR and NFL DFS each and every single week on this channel. You've also might have seen my face before over on Stochastic doing their NASCAR and MLB live before lock shows in the past. Just not doing them at the moment since NFL season is in full swing. But if you've seen me before, that is probably why. If you do end up enjoying today's free content, the only thing I ask in return is just a very small favor, but it can go a long way. If you can just leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell if you're brand new, and feel free to leave a comment down below saying whatever you want to say, because you're in control of yourself and I cannot stop you. And don't forget to check out the sponsor of the show, PrizePicks, because they do make these videos possible. And as of right now, if you are a new signee over on the site, you can use promo code CPEN to get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. There's no strings attached. It is free money. Use it to your advantage either at PrizePicks.com, or you can use the link down below in the description. But I think that's it for the plug. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And to start us off with our first prop that I am looking at, I assume this number is going to change quite quickly. So hopefully it's still there when this video posts. But I'm looking at the Cordarrelle Patterson over 2.0 reception prop over on PrizePicks that's currently sitting at minus 190 on DraftKings for over 2.5. So I love taking the over here. They're 10.5 point dogs on the road in LA. He played on 65% of the snaps last weekend, and he also had 5 targets and 3 catches in that game. He's not really someone I'm looking to target for DFS purposes, but this game does set up quite well for him to be in a passing role, which obviously we know that he's excellent at that. He had a 20% target share to open the year, 36% weighted opportunity share. He was also fantastic on the ground, so he's given the reason to keep him on the field. 22 carries for 120 yards, got into the end zone, 5.5 yards per carry. But we just need a couple dump offs here, which I think is certainly possible on the road in LA as a 10.5 point dog. So loving the over on this at 2.0. It's currently minus 190 on DK. This probably gets steamed up to 2.5, maybe even 3. So if it does get put up to 2.5, I still probably like taking the over, but at 2.0, I think we're getting excellent value because I have a hard time seeing Patterson not at least get 2 dump offs for the push, but I can easily see 3+ here. And I know we are dealing with some very small sample sizes to start the year, but the Buffalo Bills running back group did have 8 catches as a whole versus this defense last week. And the next prop I am looking at, and I promise I'm not just being a Cleveland homer here, but it's the Nick Chubb rushing prop over on PrizePicks that's currently sitting at 81.5. It's 83.5 over on DK, and this game sets up perfectly for Nick Chubb and the Cleveland Browns to be able to run this one out, run it right down the Jets' throat, which they were pretty darn bad versus the run last season. This is Cleveland's home opener. They're 6-point favorites here. 23.5 implied team total. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt obviously do split snaps, but they can both be very useful in this offense. Chubb saw just under 60% of the snaps last week, but was still his old efficient self where he's not getting, Derrick Henry 30+ touch volume, but he still had 22 carries in the game for 141 yards. 6.4 yards per carry, not really much in the passing game, but we don't need anything in the passing game because we aren't playing DFS. We're trying to get an over prop for rushing over on PrizePicks. And the Browns offensive line, one of the best in the game. I think they should be able to win their matchups here versus the New York Jets defensive front. And if they do, Chubb and Hunt should have a day, but Chubb, obviously the guy I think can ice the game in the second half, assuming they are playing with a lead. Now with Jacoby Brissett under center, that's never a guarantee, but facing the Jets, Vegas would agree. They're facing off versus Joe Flacco. They have a good defense. I think they'll be in a good spot for the majority of the game. And if so, Nick Chubb should be able to eat versus this defense. And moving on to the last prop, or props, I should say, that I am looking at, because I'm going to cheat here and put 2, but I do make the rules here, so you'll just have to live with it. Just pick whichever one you feel the most comfortable with. But it's the DeVante Adams props of 92.5 receiving yards and 22 fantasy score. I like taking the over on both. Obviously, you can't do both. You have to pick one. But both definitely seem beatable in this matchup versus the Arizona defense. They got absolutely shredded last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm not calling Derek Carr Patrick Mahomes, but he's not a bad quarterback. He's got a lot of weapons to get the ball to, and this is a very beatable defense, and this should be a very high-scoring game, so I'm trying to get a lot of exposure to this in the DFS world. I don't mind taking some overs in the prop world either. It's a 51.5 point over-under last time I looked. A near 29-point implied team total for the Las Vegas Raiders. They're 6-point favorites. They're playing at home, and DeVante Adams was an absolute beast in week 1 versus the Chargers, and that's a much tougher defense. This is a much softer spot here, and Adams had 141 receiving yards, 10 catches on 15 targets, got into the end zone, a near 50% target share, a 110% weighted opportunity share, and over a 50% market share of the team's air yards and 177 air yards to be exact, with a 10.4 ADOT. Just typical DeVante Adams stuff. I think we could all assume that Adams was probably going to have, I don't want to say the word down, but I guess a down year compared to what he had with Aaron Rodgers. But I think he's going to be just fine. It might not be quite the Aaron Rodgers ceiling, but he's still going to be heavily involved in this offense, and obviously he's got the connection from Fresno State with Derek Carr, so I think it's going to be no problem for Adams to be an absolute monster this season. And we're dealing with some very small sample size, but after week 1, the Cardinals are dead last 32nd DVA versus the pass, and they allowed 169 receiving yards, specifically 2 wide receivers last week, but Kelsey did a lot of damage as well. If you want to count him as a wide receiver, just doesn't really show up in the stat sheet. So for DeVante Adams, loving the overs here. I think his receiving prop is at 7.5, although DK does have that at -120 for the under, so I wasn't feeling too confident in it. But I do think Adams is in a great spot here. I think he's going to get 100 plus yards and decent chance he probably finds the end zone. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys this weekend. So just to recap, I like the over on Patterson at 2.0 receptions. I could see this very easily going up to 2.5 or 3, as it's very, very juiced over on DraftKings. Also like the over on Nick Chubb's rushing prop at 81.5, which is currently 83.5 over on DraftKings. And also like all the over props on DeVante Adams. Hopefully he doesn't ghost me this weekend and sell me out, because I'm a big fan of him, playing him in DFS, and love the overs over on PrizePicks. Always recommend going flex play. Went 2 for 3 last week. Austin Eckler sold us out on that. Everything else was good to go. And obviously, please make your own decisions. I'm just giving you guys some examples of props that I like heading into the weekend. And I'm sure there's others that look quite well. And if you want to comment them down below, I'd be more than happy to see what you guys got. And if you do play DFS, do offer some extra content for that over on the Patreon. The link down below. Ownership projections, optimizers, projections in general, data sheets, cheat sheets, Discord community, all that fun stuff. Link can be found down below in the description for that. That's all I got for you guys. Wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you all next week for week 3. Hopefully back in the office with all my regular equipment. Hopefully the video didn't look too bad this week.